Welcome to the Trading Air Rundown. I'm Jim Uriel. That's Bob Iacchino. We together are the hosts of Trading Air's The Trader's Edge. If you guys could have seen we just had this 60-year-olds having problems with technology, which is a common theme in things that Bobby and I do. Although Bobby's not 60, he's only 58. He'll be 59 in the summer, right?
That is correct. So I'm not even a full year younger than you, but I am younger, and that's going to stay that way. So
that is correct. It's never going to change.
Never going to change.
Okay, today we're talking about silver. So silver's been kind of a stud lately, and continues to rally. I'm going to give you my thoughts real quick on it, and then you can go. I think we're going to be running a persistently high inflationary period. That means the commodity super cycle. Does it favor precious? Yeah, sure. Does it favor industrial? Yeah, sure. If someone's sitting there going, should I buy precious? Should I buy industrial? It's like Donnie Murray. Silver's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. So they end up buying silver. I think it's been a great trade. And I also think a trade above 33.75-ish, which is just knocking on that door, suggests 3,500. Where are you on silver?
I want to be long it. I actually especially like today's price action. I'm not sure when people see this, but it's March 12th right now. And I really like today's price action because we got that typical sort of a multi-day. And in the case of silver, it was only 2 days. Retracement back to our rotation zone. That's you've heard us mention that. Me and Mike Arnold have mentioned that before. And then we get a 2-day rally up. And today we have one of the highest closes we've seen in the silver futures, going all the way back to like October 20th of last year. So it's a very strong move. Now there's resistance above, but we also held the 50 over the last few days. We had a nice dip that didn't even get near the 200 and rallied back up from there. I like silver. Now, from a fundamental perspective, I think you bring up a really good point. I think precious is still having its day. And as we move further and further toward the clash between recession and government spending turning into private spending, industrial will then take over, and silver gets to benefit from both of those and the sort of confusion about when the transition of that's going to happen.
So tell me this. Okay, so gold is rallying. So you can take out, like I thought Kamala Harris presidency would be fabulous for gold. Really kind of, putting the handcuffs on business, at the same time you're throwing a bunch of money. And I thought Trump's presidency would be okay for gold. We're in Trump's presidency. But it seems like one of the themes that's even more pronounced is central banks buying of gold. Now that we never hear much about central banks buying silver, but my assumption is they buy both metals, correct? That's your assumption as well, right?
Yeah, actually, it's factual. They buy more gold than silver because it's just the global backing when you want to get away from the dollar. That may change if Bitcoin gets traction. I should say more traction than it's already gotten globally. But yeah, silver is not really a good, what's the word? A stabilization factor, a good reserve to have, because it just doesn't grab value as quickly as gold does. It doesn't grab the headlines the way it does. But yes, factually, they buy silver as well.
Okay, so the last question will be, so copper, we know copper, we the electric story is fabulous. The defense story, you mentioned that on one of our other shows, is that the defense industry is buying up copper because they need it for expansion. The world's a scary place right now. Silver's part of the electric story too, right?
It is. And I actually bought General Dynamics today, although the sort of potential ceasefire is probably going to put a crimp in that particular trade. But I still think silver is a part of that, because silver is a huge part of the electricity story. It's one of the better conductors, probably second best to copper, that the general public knows about. So it is definitely not just electrification in terms of Green New Deal, quantum computing, all of that is also an electricity story.
So it's funny because people, you're watching this too, and this will be it, and we'll let you go. But when Donald Trump became president, our assumption was, and still is, that the electric vehicle thing, there'd be less tax breaks, things like this. But things have been changing a little bit. Like Donald Trump has just bought an electric vehicle and he's starting to trump up the Teslas, which I think is very, very interesting and political. And by the way, the fact that we are Trump supporters, according to you people, does not mean that we don't make fun of many of the things he does. We do. We're not ideologues and we're not huge Trump supporters. It's a binary and we voted for him.
I'll say this for people who think it's, I'm sorry, I cut off your question, but for people who think that's an authoritarian story, Tesla is an American company. Trump is pro-American business. He doesn't care whether you buy an American gasoline-powered engine or an American electric car. He cares that you buy American. He doesn't care. He just doesn't want to force electrification on people.
So is Donald Trump's little bit of a recent flip in his actions, buying the Tesla, talking about how wonderful it is, part of the copper and silver trade?
It could be. I mean, it actually temporarily spiked Tesla's stock price, but it's just it's not going to eke out some of the fundamentals that copper is dealing with. That's the real tailwind.
There's no question about it. Okay, this is Tradiers, the Trader's Edge. No, it's not. It's Tradier Rundown. Please join us for Tradiers, the Trader's Edge, which airs live 3 p.m. on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Chicago times. We'll see you there. Thank you guys very much.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.